It started with an ambitious plan from the HOA, 110 homes, all plopped down on my Texas land without warning. They assumed that sheer numbers and bureaucracy would intimidate me into silence. They didn't know who they were dealing with. I drove up to the site, and the sight made my blood boil. Bulldozers, foundation forms, and half-built houses sprawled across my property like weeds. They had no permits from me, no legal authority, and no idea that my property rights were ironclad. Instead of panicking, I smiled. I've seen nature's power firsthand, and I know how to let it handle things. Over the next few weeks, I allowed the HOA to continue their development. I documented everything meticulously, photos, videos, legal notes, because I knew the real demolition would come from forces beyond human control. Then it happened. One night, a fierce storm rolled in, the kind that leaves a mark on the land forever. Torrential rain, flash floods, and high winds turned my Texas land into a natural battleground. Foundations that had barely set were washed away. Cranes toppled. Lumber and construction materials were swept across the property like toys. The HOA's massive project, built without permission, was obliterated not by lawsuits, not by me, but by the raw power of the land itself. When I visited the site the next morning, the damage was catastrophic. The houses were ruined, the streets unusable, and their investment was gone. The HOA scrambled, calling engineers, lawyers, and insurance agents, but there was nothing they could do. Nature had reclaimed what they had unlawfully taken. Every single structure they thought they owned had been reduced to rubble. I stepped onto my property, surveying the aftermath. No permits, no HOA authority, and no legal footing. Just me, the land, and undeniable proof that trespassing has consequences. When the HOA tried to argue for compensation or restoration, I calmly reminded them of the permits they never had, the laws they violated, and the fact that Mother Nature had already settled the score. The community watched in awe. The ambitious project that had seemed unstoppable was wiped out in a matter of hours. The HOA faced humiliation, financial loss, and a public reputation shredded beyond repair. And I retained every inch of my land, secure in my ownership and completely untouchable. It was a dramatic, undeniable lesson. You can try to manipulate, build, and intimidate, but when you trespass on someone else's land, nature, and the law has a way of delivering instant, irreversible justice. From that day on, no HOA dared cross my property lines. My land, my rules, and my respect for its power ensured that anyone foolish enough to underestimate me, or the forces of nature, would pay dearly.